I immediately begin to expose her to some degree to my business workings, because to me it's about empire building, and I want my children to be sensitive to that, and of course I want the women I deal with to be sensitive to that. It does allow for us to get to know each other better, and it allows us to also weed out who's just talking and who's really about rolling their sleeves up and contributing to what it is that they're going to retire on. That's one of the reasons why I bring that up very early in the beginning. There's a certain level of passion that comes when you're working together. You know, there's a certain level of endearment. And a lot of times you're able to see one another in your most purest moments when you're really working against something and you're challenged, and you're able to see where each other's strengths lie. You know, everyone can do something, children included. Everyone can contribute in some way, shape, form, or fashion by working towards the family business. It also shows you if the woman is interested in you or if she's interested in your family. I always advocate you have to love my family more than you love me. You know, because anything could happen. I could be going tomorrow, but how are you going to deal with if you come in and let's say there's children present and something happens to me? How are you going to deal with those children who have now attached to you, or those other women who have attached to you as a corporate group? Are you going to gather together, and I'm speaking of the women, and go find another man and say, well, we have to continue what we've started, or now is everyone going to disband? Now, I wanted to ask you, moving to volume 2, you know, some of the things that you'll be addressing in that volume.
I define in volume 2 what governmental order is, and I define how, or rather I elaborate on how the family is actually its own government. It's its own kingdom. It's its own empire. And you have to treat it like that, as well as a business. It's its own military. It's its own religion. And you have to treat it like that, or else things will fall apart, because all those categories I mentioned provides you with standards. Okay? It forces you to create standards because, you know, you're going to practice, most of these families, you know, are going to practice some form of religion. You're going to have a particular way that you engage in finance. That means that you're probably going to engage in commerce if you have a family business. I go into safety for the family, military strategies. That means everyone must be combat trained. That's from the children all the way up to the elders. You got to be combat trained because you have to be able to protect your assets and to protect your person, which is even more important than your physical assets, because you can always gain that back, you see. Okay. I go into engaging in international commerce. I go into how to travel as a family. I go into security measures. I talk about the 12 colonial systems that are destroyed by your engaging in policing. That's a whole chapter all by itself.
Excuse me. Could you mention what those systems are, brother?
One of the first that I have is the sex industry. Okay. Okay. You destroy the sex industry. That means prostitution. That means nightclubs. That means pornography. And you have you destroy the public welfare system. In fact, I call it the social welfare system. In other words, it gets rid of single motherhood. Okay, that includes the court system. You know, when you engage in polygyny, it takes all of these women out of public property. It takes the children out of being needy. It makes sure that you don't have to rely on a system that doesn't care about you. It destroys the abortion industry, public education system, the prison system, family courts. I mentioned the welfare system, the mental health system, the pharmaceutical industry, the quote-unquote war on drugs, and of course, the sex industry, nursing homes, and the corporate ladder. So those are actually 13 systems that polygyny destroys. I have a chapter called Our Due Diligence that goes into, I actually have paperwork that I'm drawing up, including a workbook that I'm going to have with the special edition Volume 2, where it's going to have a couple of hundred different questions for the men and women, the man and the women involved, in, it's just like business. It's a business term. It's a legal term. When you come to the table, let's say Bank of America is going to buy out Capital One, they're going to have to come to the table and talk about the merger. And they're going to have to reveal their finances. They're going to have to reveal the motives. Why do you want to buy our company? Why do you, Bank of America, want to buy out Capital One? It has to make sense, so everybody knows what kind of person that they're dealing with. So that's going to be a huge chapter. I have a chapter called The Concubine's Enduring Saga, and I talk about what the role of the concubine is. What is the concubine across various cultures? Concubines versus the mistress economy, because the mistress economy is what we have in most countries where they don't want to be honest about polygyny. Even in polygynous cultures, you have a mistress economy. Polygynous and anti-concubine propaganda. What's surprising, brother, is a lot of polygynists are against concubines, but we both know that you have always had concubines in every polygynous culture that you go to.